Hello and welcome back to Mirror's Signal podcast, your weekly podcast sponsored by Knowledgeably Instructor Training, award-winning CPD providers. Stay tuned to the episode for your discount code from them. Today's episode is the fourth interactive session where I invited the MSP community members to join me for an episode. So today's episode was slightly different. I came with 3 questions to ask the guest, and they all had an opportunity to answer each question. We did go off on some small tangents and some insightful information came through with the episode. Those 3 questions were: what is a driving instructor? What are some of the challenges that you're currently facing? And the last question was, why are you doing what you do now? And those questions were posed to the guests. We had ADIs, people that are moving into a training role, and PDIs. So those questions were answered by a variety of different kind of views on the industry. So some interesting stuff covered through the episode, and I hope you guys enjoy watching or listening. If you'd like to join the membership, you can sign up either on Spotify, YouTube, or Patreon, and there are more interactive sessions scheduled going into 2026. We do a monthly session, which is not recorded, so we can talk about whatever you wish on those sessions. You also get access to the weekly episode, and I will likely be doing more of the interactive sessions where we can cover a variety of topics with a number of different guests at different levels in the driver training career. So feel free to check that out. Drop me a message if you've got any questions. But for now, we will get on with the episode. I hope you all enjoy. Hello. Thank you all for joining me for what is the 4th interactive episode with you guys. Some familiar faces now, which is nice. And this evening, something slightly different. We've got a rough theme throughout the episode, but what we're going to go through is some questions, and you're each going to get an opportunity to answer and share your thoughts, opinions, whatever it is, on each question. And the first one, following on from last week, there was this suggestion that we should do an episode on what is a driving instructor. So that's going to be the first question thrown out to you. What is a driving instructor? And I thought I'd ask this because my assumption when I decided to become a driving instructor from the previous role was I've only got to learn one book, the highway code, and I'm just going to be sat in the car, sat next to someone. And I was quite off with that, and I'm sure we can discuss it. But I'm going to throw it out to you guys, and I'll pick someone to answer first, and we'll see where we go from there. So what is a driving instructor? And I will throw it first to Penny, because her name's sticking out and standing out. So Penny, over to you. What is a driving instructor?
So it's, I suppose, similar to you. When I first of all looked into it, I thought, oh, I can do that job. Sitting next to someone, telling them what to do, which is basically what it was when I first started. Being giving people instructions on how to do this, how to do that. I hated it, absolutely hated it. Wasn't what I wanted in the job. So I changed reasonably quickly and then discovered coaching. And it's now, for me, a driving instructor is someone that helps another individual develop their skills to learn to drive. So it's what skills they've already got, and it's in evolving that person and their ability to enable themselves to drive, if that makes sense.
It does. And the way you've described it there sounds fairly straightforward. Just develop the person in how to drive. Easy.
Not that easy.
Job done.
No, it's not easy. It's not an easy job. If anybody comes into it thinking it's an easy buck, they're totally wrong. It's not easy. It's a complex job. It's very rewarding, but it takes over your life totally. If you're doing it well, it takes over your life because you never stop learning, you never stop discovering new things because everyone's so different. I think you get very challenging people and you get people that find it really easy. And it's how to help each individual, I can't talk now, how to help each individual find their own way through the maze that you've got to teach them.
And the more we know and understand, the easier that becomes.
Yeah. So it's not just sitting next to them and saying, do this, do that, because that's what I do. Because that doesn't work. What you do doesn't work for everybody else. It's that individual finding a method that will help or that will enable them to drive. So whereas one person might finding a biting point, adding the gas and moving off easy, another person might need to add the gas first, then find a biting point so that they've got that gas already there to move off. This is just as a prime example. And so it's helping them understand what they need to do that works for them. So it doesn't matter if it works for you, that's irrelevant. It's got to work for them.
Hey, that could cause some debate. Gas before bite, bite before gas.
Yeah.
But we're gonna swerve that one at least for now. So I'm gonna move around my screen. I don't know whether you guys see it in the same order I do, but I'm gonna work around anti-clockwise now because that's where we started, which means I'm gonna throw that same question to you, Sean. What
Oh,
is a driving instructor?
for me, a driving instructor is a professional person that is helping someone develop the skill on being able to drive a car safely.
What do you mean by a professional person?
Um, I just believe a driving instructor needs to have a professional mannerism about them. They need to, and it's not necessarily kind of have a somewhat of a professional appearance, not going around like a bit of a scruff bag. Basically the way they present themselves, the way they talk and act. They're it's okay to have a bit of banter, but you just got to be careful with how far the banter goes when you're dealing with certain people because they might laugh about it in front of you, then go back and actually it's really upset them. So you've got to learn appropriate boundaries. And I think that comes into being a professional person, being able to talk to people appropriately and stuff like that.
It's an interesting points there, and again, potentially something that can be overlooked when you're coming into it because it was never a consideration of mine. It was right, I'm going to learn the highway code, get a dual control car, we're off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that how you present yourself as an individual, a business, a professional person.
Yeah. It's outside of work as well. You've got to be, I feel like I've got to be careful how I am. Yeah, I was over in Southampton town centre on the weekend and I bumped into three people that I'm helping learn to drive. And I'm sat there thinking, oh God, do I look all right? Do I look presentable? And yeah, and I was just thinking, where am I? Where am I stood? Am I? And yeah, I don't know, maybe I overthink it a little bit, but I think it's got to be a lifestyle of being a presentable professional person. in my opinion.
It's a very good point.
Mm.
Yeah, your students might have a different opinion of you if you was upside down drunk,
Yeah,
and it was their lesson with you the day after.
yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Obviously, if you had someone that's got a lesson on a Saturday morning and then you go down the pub on a Friday night and bump into one of their friends, probably not very professional. Or if you go to a football match and one of your learners supports the same football team, and then you're involved with hooligans, that probably doesn't look very professional. Imagine if your learner sees you having a fight with an away fan or something like that. I wouldn't say that's very professional. Um, so there's a lot to it, I think, when it comes to being a professional person.
Some real interesting points there, and something that is definitely worth considering. And probably not just related to this, but any business where you're the face of the business, you've got to have
Yeah,
that in the back of your mind at all times. I like
yeah.
it. I'm not sure whether we'll come back to it. Hopefully we do, or we can summarize towards the end. But I'm going to bring in the next person on my list now. So that is Gary. And I'm going to pose the same question. What is a driving instructor to you?
Um, so, a lot like what Penny said, Penny and Shaw, both people. Someone tries to. It was interesting what Penny said about teach is not about how we think things that needs to be done. It's about how they interpret that and how they do it with regards to clutch first, gas first, or clutch first. For clutch buying point and stuff. So I think, other than what's been said separately, they're both what I agree with. I don't think I can add any more, to be honest with you, that I can think of anyway.
No, that's fair enough. And we've got a few more to come round, and I'm sure as we get going, there'll be thoughts that start brewing, and we'll dive in towards the end of the episode. I'm going to open it up to a discussion anyway, and we can cover all of these questions or whatever tangents we end up on. But let's move over to Jen, and let's see what you've got. Anything to add to what's already been said?
Everything. So I was just going to say somebody who's like trained and has got the skills and knowledge to take somebody from A to B and develop into a safe, competent driver. That's quite short in comparison.
So is that from the instructor's point of view that the instructor's trained to do that for someone, or is that
To work with somebody
you're getting someone from point A to point B in a way that suits them?
in a way that suits the learner. Just helping them, not telling them what to do, but working with them to sort of get them to develop their own skills.
I like it. And now we'll come to Andy, who's been sat very quiet, waiting his turn. Let's see what Andy's got to say.
No comment.
Say again?
No comment.
No comment on what is a driving instructor. We
No
can't
comment.
have this. Go on. Yeah, I'm putting you on the spotlight. You're held until you give me an answer.
Yeah, for me, I come from a heavy goods
Yeah.
background and buses, so I was teaching in that before I come into this industry. And in that industry where I worked, it's a very much tell situation. When I come into this situation, and it's client centered, we didn't have that. I didn't have it explained to me when I originally come into this industry, because the training I received were very, very tell. So reason I come into industry is because I was teaching people in lorries who could already drive, and they come to lorries. And unfortunately, there's a lot of instructors out there that teach to pass a test and not teach safe driving for life. So I decided, well, two reasons really I come into industry. One, I was traveling 90-mile round trip a day for work. I was spending 12 hours a week traveling backwards and forwards. And I thought, well, I'll go and do a car because I wanted to do it a few years ago, but things got in the way and I didn't do it. Because my original plan where I could turn that 12 hours a week into money rather than traveling backwards and forwards. And I quickly worked it out because you can charge £35 an hour. I was probably going to be earning 30 grand a year extra on top of what I was already earning, which in reality, when you come into it, is it? Before we started recording, we were talking about how tiring it is because people think it's a case of just going in, sitting at the side of somebody, take a few quid off them, go for a bit of a jolly with them, drop them off, and away they go. And it's not. It's a lot more intense. And people don't realise this when they're coming into industry. So pretty much what everybody else has said, I think you need to be professional. You need to know your subject inside out. Because if you don't know your subject, how can you teach it? So it comes down to your driving as well, like something that Sean said. I went to the supermarket the other week and I got out in the car and I said to my other half, that's not straight, that. So I got back in the car and straightened it up because somebody quickly take a picture of it and put it on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, a driving instructor can't park straight, so how does he expect his pupils to park straight if he can't park straight? My other half thought I was completely off my head for going back to the car and straightening it up because I walked away, turned around to it to make sure it locked, and I thought, it's just not right. And I've seen driving instructors, even with learners driving my car a few weeks ago. We went round a roundabout, and an instructor went round the roundabout on the outside of the round, on our outside, as though he stole the car. And my learner said, is that a learner or is it an instructor? I said, well, I'd like to think it's an instructor that's behind wheels driving like that, but they really shouldn't be driving like that. And we should watch ourselves. If we're gonna preach safe driving for life, we should practice it ourselves.
Definitely.
I disagree with that. So this has taken an interesting turn, and I'm going to stay on this topic for a minute because this episode hopefully will help people that are not yet at the stage that everyone is currently on the show, either PDI or ADI or trainers. And we've covered the basics of what a driving instructor is there. And that's the knowledge, the professionalism, the teaching ability, and the development. But there's way more than that. And I think it's worth bringing it up at this point and maybe talking through it. So my next question, sub-question of this part of the show, who has a social media manager?
Me.
So everyone does. Do you?
I'm the social media manager. Yeah. On everything. That's it.
Well, this was why I wanted to bring it up because I had no idea where these answers would go. And I think this could give people a bit of that insight because I'm sure we're all here, our own social media managers. Whether we do a good job of that or not is up for debate. But we're our own social media managers. And Andy mentioned it, that the job as a driving instructor is tiring. You know, we're on the road all day, but we're only on the road if we've got students. And one of the main ways we're going to get students is by managing social media or reputation or websites, something, because if no one knows what you're offering, no one can buy it. And I think coming in with a full understanding of all the little almost side missions we've got to do as a driving instructor, social media and managing that is one of them, or you've got to pay someone to do it, either through a franchise or through an independent manager, whatever it is. So that's one for me that springs to mind that is additional, but really we need to be on top of it as a driving instructor. Are there any other things like that?
Lots.
That as a driving instructor we need to do that maybe people overlook?
Answering the phone, taking in bookings, managing your diary. List goes on. It's never ending. Bookkeeping, accounts if you're not going to get an accountant. Time management, having your own time. I seem to not do very well with that bit.
Snap.
But yeah, it's not just about teaching the person to drive. You've got everything of being a sole trader that goes with that.
Yeah, something you just said there, Penny, about time management. It's very important, but we're so poor at it.
Yeah.
As people, we're just really poor at time management.
Do you think half of that is because we all tend to care about what we're doing and we want to help everybody?
Yeah, I think so, because I tend to run over most lessons, because me and Jen's had this discussion before. If somebody's having a bit of a bad day, you don't want to leave them on a bad note. You need to leave them on a good note. And if that means running over for an extra 10 or 15 minutes to make sure they get out of that car in a happy place rather than being in an unhappy place,
Yeah,
it makes a difference. It does make a difference.
Exactly. So yeah, there's a lot to it. It's not just sitting next to the other person and helping them. They've got to
see.
Go on, Andy, because I can't get my words.
See, I think a big thing as well with doing this is with a lot of young ones, or is it just me that's come across this? When you said to people, how do you best learn? Majority of them don't know how they best learn themselves. So then we've got to dig into that and find out how they best learn. And if you don't understand the VALT model, to try and work out how somebody learns. So how do you go on when you've got a person that don't learn same as you? So I'm a very kinesthetic learner, me. But when you get somebody that's auditory, you've got to adjust yourself to that. Do you know what I mean? And it can be difficult on its own. If you're not keen on learning that way, then you've got a bit of an uphill struggle straight away, because you've got to adapt your learning to them, to the way they learn. Because at the end of the day, that person in that seat should be central learning experience. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about them. Or is it just me that comes across that?
No. I was going to say the other thing is having the time for yourself and your own learning, so your CPD and whatever else you want to bring into your learning. You've got to have time for that as well, because otherwise you're just going to get stagnant and you're not going to improve your own skills or have time to reflect on what you're doing as well.
Yeah.
That reflection was something that, as you mentioned, that Penny, stood out. There's obviously there's CPD where we can go and proactively learn and develop. But reflection, if you're getting back after every day and you're mentally fatigued, then we're not going to reflect. We're going to get back, we're going to have some food, we're going to put the TV on, and that's it. Brain shuts off for the night, which is fine for a certain amount of time. But I'd say more for either inexperienced ADIs or PDIs that are still in that development stage on the fundamental skills. That reflection is massive, because if your brain's not having time to process everything that's just happened, put it all together, make sense of it so you can go again, it's almost like we're just trapped on a treadmill on full speed. And it's like next one, sleep, next one. Yeah, so time management isn't just 2 weeks off over the summer holidays. It's how are you managing your day? How are you managing your week? And is that sustainable over 12 months? Because if it's not sustainable for a month, but financially you're relying upon that, then by the end of the year, you're going to be burnt out. And by the end of the second year, you're going to be looking for something else to go and do. Time management, massive.
Other thing as well is, like when we're saying about learner, I've just took a couple of new students on from somebody who's failed the part 3, and one of them's really struggling with parallel parking. I'm now his 4th instructor, what he's had. And I said to him, what is it about? What are you struggling with? How do you do it? He says, well, my first instructor said I got to match mirrors up and then do this and do that. My second instructor said I've got to do this. My third instructor said I've got to do this. Which way do you think I should do it? I says, whichever way you feel comfortable, work it out. But he's really struggling with it because his previous instructors have told him he needs to do it like this. So he's got 3 different ways of doing it, but struggles with it.
Because
I
they're
don't
not
even
his ways.
I literally I pull them up behind a car and I just say, we're going to do a reverse parallel park using that car. Do you know what that is? And if they say no, I explain to them what it is, ask them how they think they're going to do it, and I just go, show me. And 9 out of 10 times they can figure out themselves. I've had someone come to me before from another driving instructor struggling with forward bay park. And he was like, right, okay, I need to line my elbows up to this point. My door mirror should be here and I should be going full lock. And I'm like, why? Why don't you just look at the bay and drive into it? And as soon as I said, just don't overthink anything like that, choose a bay, look at it, drive into it. And he just done it like that. And he's like, so I don't need to line anything up. And I was like, well, you kind of end up lining something up, but without even thinking about it, because you kind of just natural instinct, your hands will naturally turn when they need to turn. And I do something very similar with the reverse parallel park. I literally don't tell them anything. I just say, like, just stop alongside that car, reverse back till you believe the back of the car has cleared that car. How are you going to know that? Oh, okay, well, I could look out this window. Okay, that would work. What are you looking at? Where are you going to be looking? Why? And they just do it. So I can't actually remember the last time I've actually told someone how to do a reverse parallel park, because they just do it.
And that's allowing learners to find their own way. And I think this links to somewhat time management as well, because they're not on our timeline of, right, you need to get this done and we're going to get it cracked in today's lesson. It's right, we're going to have a practice, we're going to explore, take as long as you need. I'll keep you safe. You just do what you need to. So without straying into kind of lesson structure and topics and breakdown in teaching skills, I'm going to bring it back to this question before we move on to the next one. So it was, what is a driving instructor? You all gave us your thoughts on what is a driving instructor, and then I threw out there about the other tasks. What I'd like to do, because we've got a few PDIs that are with us this evening, so I'm going to throw an open question out to you guys and just ask, as now working as a driving instructor, what things have surprised you with either the workload or the job as a driving instructor, whether it's bookkeeping, social media, the lessons, the learners? What things have been a surprise, good or bad, for you, if anything?
For me, something that it still surprises me now is I could pull outside a learner's house, they'd be at their window, they'd look at me and they'd even wave at me, but they won't come out. They won't come out until you sent them a message. And I find that really bizarre, that they could literally look at you, they know you're there, but they don't come out until you sent them a message saying, hi, I'm outside. But they're looking at you in the kitchen window. That's quite surprising. How much money you spend on maintenance on a tuition vehicle? That's quite surprising. or either that, or I've just been very unlucky. It can be quite overwhelming. I obviously I come into this industry wanting to help people become safe drivers, and I don't know if it's the same in every area, but around my area, there's very clearly a shortage of driving instructors because my phone don't stop going off. And if you just want to help everyone, you physically, there's no way you can. So I guess, like when I first started, because I just wanted to help everyone, I was working way too much. I was doing way too many lessons, 4 or 5 lessons a day some days. Just because I just, people would message me, oh, you've been recommended to me. I can't find a driving instructor that can do evenings. Oh yeah, okay, cool, that's fine. I'll do 6:30 till 8:30 every night then, that's good. So you end up, starting your first lesson at 8 o'clock in the morning and finishing your last lesson at 8:30 at night, and it's just ridiculous. I needed to learn to say no. I've trimmed my diary back absolutely loads. Luckily, I had a spell of loads of test passes, and it gave me the opportunity to trim my diary down. And how my diary is now, I wish it was like that 12 months ago. I wish I did. I wish I had the mentality to just say, no, sorry, I can't help. But back when I first started, I just wanted, and it was upsetting me. Like I had evenings where I'd say to the wife, I was like, I can't help everyone. I might as well quit. I just can't. I've done this because I want to help everyone. I can't help everyone. I might as well just quit. And the bottom line is, you can't. You just can't help everyone. You must learn to say no for good time management.
I like the link there, Sean. Bringing it back to one of the earlier points, the time management. I'm sure we're all guilty of it when we first started, but I think that's where mentorship and support can come in as well. I would hazard a guess that the trainers we've got on here would very strongly, in fact, no, I know because we've spoke, there is strong advice that you don't overload your diary, especially as a PDI. Now, some people have to work, whatever they have to work, family, life, bills, whatever. But time management, diary management in those early days, massively important, and understanding that we can't help everyone. So I like that, Sean. I'm going to throw it to the other 2 that we've got. If you guys have got anything to add, anything that you've found since you've started working as a driving instructor.
Sounds a bit random. So I was excited to see people pass the test and sort of was looking forward to that and the excitement of that. But then I found like seeing them achieve something that they've been struggling with during the lessons. It could be anything minor that they've been practicing. As soon as they got it, that's where the pride comes in. Like for me as well as them. There's another one that's gone out my head now. It'll come back.
When it comes back, just blurt it out.
Yeah.
I like that. Those little mini successes within the lessons, especially when someone's been struggling and seeing their face when they manage it.
Yeah, it's like
Definitely.
a light bulb moment.
Yeah. And
I got called really sad.
You can feel it in them as well when they achieve something. You can see when it just suddenly clicks.
That's it. What was you saying, Gary?
I got called really sad because I was like celebrating a bit too much, apparently, because the girl had done it really well. Well, we'd just been doing it, and she took from one point to another. She used that, and I said, "Do you know what you've just done there?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "That's absolutely fantastic. Well done." And so I kept going on about it. I said, why are you getting all? Why are you doing it that much? Why are you going too much? Are you taking the mick? Oh, I'm generally excited that you've done it.
Yeah.
So, but that's just the way I am sometimes.
They need reminding of that at times because
Yeah.
it can become quite negative. It's learning this new skill, this new thing, and they watch everyone else do it really easily. You watch friends, family members, they just get in the car, and as we've discussed in previous episodes, they're just working on unconsciousness. They're just in, and it's all just there. And then a learner that can't move a car across a car park because they keep stalling and kangarooing down, that's what they're comparing against. And it can become very quickly a struggle for that learner and a negative process because they can't just do it. So I like that. The little wins, they're great for the learners. And to wrap up this question, back to, I'm going to open to Penny and Andy. Anything that we've missed or anything that you'd like to add?
Go on, Penny, you can go first.
Sandy. Yeah, I think those little wins throughout like got me. I think because it took me a little while to get there because of like obviously being trained to tell people what to do to start with. Didn't get them to start initially. But then when I started developing myself and looking at what I was doing and how I was helping them, and they started to come thick and fast. Once they realise or once you help them understand how to do things, or they get that light bulb moment because they're getting it themselves without you really helping them, I think that becomes even more fulfilling. My challenges are completely different to everybody else's, but mainly it's time management.
We're going to come on to challenges shortly, which I'm looking forward to. This one could be fun. Before we wrap this up, what is a driving instructor? Any last bits to add, Andy?
Well, only thing I'm going to add, I don't think it's been mentioned. I think we should make learning fun.
Yeah.
And not be like this type of person that just like, grumpy faced and that. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes when people drive past my car, they must think we're on laughing gas or something. Do you know what I mean? Because we do laugh and joke and we make it fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it makes it enjoyable for learner as well. It's got to be enjoyable. They're paying you a lot of money at the end of the day to help them. And especially like, I find SEM pupils very rewarding because they don't believe they can do it. And when they've got that pass certificate in their hand and they can do it. Yeah, we don't have I can't attitude in my car. We have an I can attitude.
Yeah.
Because we can do everything. If we put our mind to it, we can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've banned the phrase I can't in my car, I let them come up with their own term that they have to use instead, and it has to be a positive. But yeah, with many students, I've banned that word. I can't do this, or I'll never be able to do this. I'm never going to get it. So now all of those are banned now. Even if you don't believe what you're saying, I can do this. I will be able to do it. Even if you don't believe it, keep saying it because eventually it'll come.
Yeah, that's something else that's quite rewarding, isn't it? It's somebody that you think or that says that they'll never enjoy driving, they don't like driving, they're just driving because they need to drive. And then before they take the test, you know what? I actually quite like driving now. Once they know that they can do it, they've got that belief in themselves, and then they turn around to you and say, I actually really like driving. I thought you didn't like it when we first started. No, I didn't want to do it at all. But you've made it really, really enjoyable, and I've really enjoyed all the sessions, and I just want to keep driving now. That's what makes it.
Yeah.
I love it. A nice positive one to finish that section up on. To now move on to something more challenging. And we'll work around. I'll give each person a chance to answer kind of in their own thoughts before we debate it a little bit. But what are some of the challenges that you face as a driving instructor in your current situation, so that could either just be as a driving instructor, PDI, ADI, trainer, whatever it is, what are some of the struggles that or challenges that you're facing? And I'm going to go around the opposite way around this time because everyone's still in order on my screen, which makes it easy, which means, Andy, you're up first for this one.
Are you
What are some
saying
of
I
the
got the last
challenges?
word? Are you saying I got the last word on the last one? I'm going to get the first one on this one.
Yeah, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making it up. This is one of my challenges, but just go with it, please, Andy.
Okay, then no problem. Challenges that I think in this industry is finding the right training to become a driving instructor at the start, and finding a trainer that works with you, because it's like our learners as well. You get some learners that won't stay with you because it's like when they were at school, they'll learn something with a certain teacher better than they will another. So we don't always gel with people. We do have personality clashes and stuff like that. We've just got to try and overcome them. One of the challenges is what has already been mentioned is saying no. When somebody rings you up and says, "Oh, so and so's recommended me to you. When can you fit me in?" They don't want to know how much it's going to cost. They just want to know when they can come. And you feel obliged.
Yeah.
Because you've been recommended. So that's the two challenges I would put forward. Finding the correct trainer at the start to ensure that you're getting good quality training, and learn to say no.
The amount of times those two answers come up through the show, if we were to go back, I reckon that must be in at least 70% of the episodes. I should have said no more. And I wish I'd have found a different trainer. So yeah, anyone that's listening to this and it's the first time coming across the show, it is something that is a challenge, I think, for the majority of people coming into the industry. The training is such a minefield, and again, we've covered that a lot. And saying no, we generally come in, if you come in with the right mindset, you want to help people, and that's saying no. I don't know whether it's the wanting to help people, the knowing that you've got to earn money, that there's money there, that we're newly self-employed, and if everyone cancels next week, what am I going to do? There's probably a lot that goes into it to each individual instructor as to why they're doing what they do. But yeah, I don't think you're alone with those struggles, are you, Andy?
No, I don't think so.
I like it. So I'm going to follow on with the same question and throw it to Jen. What are some of the challenges that you're facing at the minute, apart from your cat? She's been distracted, hasn't she?
Sorry, the dog's trying to eat. Sort of being expected, I think, of some parents to be in charge of the children, and I don't mean like teaching them. Just like I get someone once, and it's like, well, did you not go and wake them up? Have you not phoned them? Have you not this? Have you not that? And I'm thinking, well, why is that my responsibility? It's happening quite a lot, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well as that, like training, sort of knowing whether what you're coming out with is correct or, yeah. I'll come in.
I like that. I think we may have spoke about that, Andy, in the past, about learners and knocking on for them or giving them a call. I don't know whether it was you. I'm sure we may have spoke about it, maybe not on record. It can be a challenge, can't it? When learners know you come in, they know they've got a lesson and they're not there ready to go. And how do you manage that? Where does the professionalism come in? Do we wait in the car? Do we wait 10 minutes? Do we go and knock on the house? It's an interesting challenge, and I'm sure everyone will have a different opinion on that as well. So yeah, we'll come back to that and discuss shortly. I'll move on to Gary now and see what challenges you're facing since you started.
Time management. With what Andy just said, like finding the right trainer. How would you do that? How would you go about that when you come into it, when you first start off? Because I didn't know what to expect when I came into it. And I first started to speak to Andy, and Andy opened my eyes to a lot of things, what I needed to do, how I needed to do it. Saying no, and understand that it's okay to not gel with every pupil. It sometimes might not work. You can try your best for it to work, but sometimes it's not working. So it's how you react to that. Trying to change the way I try and teach. That's the challenge. So multiple things really. But time management's the most, because a couple of weeks ago I was really, but when I look back, I used to do a lot of reading, and then I stopped reading because I was getting stressed. So I wasn't doing as much reading, and I was changing how I did things when I got home, and it's just a learning curve, massive learning curve for me. So just many things that are a learning curve.
The full system's a learning curve, isn't it, for people coming into it? I think a lot of it's downplayed when you initially make inquiries to become a driving instructor. It's like, yeah, you do this, you do your part 1, do your part 2, do a bit of training, do your part 3, we'll get you on a trainee license, away you go. And it sounds very simple, sounds very easy. And then you get sent a load of students to fill your diary, and you've got bills that start coming out and money that starts coming in. And I think for a lot of PDIs, they're almost trying to establish and build a business before qualifying, which within some situations you kind of have to cover the bills, cover the cost. But time management is vital, isn't it? In the early days, like you say, about the reading and the studying and taking everything on, as well as learning a new job. You're learning a new job in a live environment. We're on the road. We're not in a classroom somewhere where if we make a mistake, it's all right, we rub it out and start again. It's not on a drawing board, it's on a road.
I think
interesting. I'm gonna go on, sorry.
It's just weird. It's so many things have opened my eyes to so many different ways to teach, and trying to find your own way as well. And with regards to finding the right trainer, nobody knows how to find the right trainer, because I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what to look for in a trainer. I didn't know I needed a trainer because
So before we continue with the episode, here is your discount code from our sponsors, Knowledgeably Instructor Training. Just use the discount code MSP10 for 10% off their client-centered learning Part 3 and Standards Check in-person award-winning workshop. That is MSP10 for 10% off.
But I got spoken to by well, should I not said that?
Flaps head.
Hey, I'll cut that bit out.
We can edit it.
Sorry, Josh. I blame Andy for that.
Face. Andy's face as soon as you said it. Right, this full bit is going to get chopped. Can we put our serious faces back?
So you just don't know which trainer to go for.
No, that's it. And then you get all the marketing off these big national schools, don't you? And and you don't know what they're saying and whether it's true or not. But that is a challenge, a very difficult one. And I've said it many times and I'll say it again. I think this mess continues until the DVSA pull their finger out and do something. They need to take account for it now. It's ridiculous, the regulation and the standards. But coming back to your point on the time management and finding a good trainer, I'm fairly certain the good trainer would help you with
Right.
that. And if they're not, if you're with someone that's just filling you with learners, you've potentially got to question why. Where's your time? When are you going to reflect and learn? So an interesting one. There's a theme here, isn't there?
Mm.
So before we delve onto this anymore, let's bring Sean in. Your challenges.
My challenges, struggling to find a good trainer. I don't think that's been mentioned yet.
No.
Yeah, so in regards to that, what I think people need to bear in mind is a driving instructor charges a learner driver around £40 per hour. If there's a company out there offering to train you, and it works out that they're charging you less than that £40 an hour, it's probably not right. But yeah, and even if you do find a trainer that's expensive, that doesn't necessarily mean he's good either.
Just to confuse people more.
Yeah, he becoming a driving instructor is a massive minefield, and I think it needs regulating and sorting out. It's actually borderline diabolical. How much of a mess it is in. And it makes it hard for you to be able to trust people within the industry. Because you get all these big names that are shouting about themselves all the time, or all these big national companies, the largest schools in the UK, and the training doesn't seem to be very good. And then you're just thinking, well, these big national brands or these big, industry leaders are making a mess of it. Who can I trust? Other than the training thing, like Andy said, funny enough, I think I've just echoed Andy in a very similar way. Being able to say no. What I would say, if there's people out there, and I know there will be people out there that will be working 12 or 14-hour shifts, and then they come in to become a driving instructor thinking, well, I'm used to working 12 or 14-hour shifts, like I was. Don't sit there and kid yourself into thinking, I'm just going to carry on working 12 or 14-hour shifts, because it will kill you. You need to say no and get used to working less hours, because it is going to be more tiring. So yeah, finding a good trainer and being able to say no and managing your diary properly. They're the challenges for me.
I like that. Because it's a consistent theme. And the way I have solved that for myself, not with work, but with learners, because obviously I do the odd additional evening and podcast and other things. But as far as learners go, I have set hours and that's it. My day starts at a certain time and it finishes at a certain time. And any inquiries, if they can't fit into that, I can't help them. I don't offer driving lessons to them.
Yeah.
And making that decision helps me now manage it. It removes that emotional side of, oh, I really need your help. I've tried this, I've tried that. I'm offering them a solution. It's like, okay, well, I have a gap at 12 o'clock on a Tuesday. You can do that lesson, but that's all I've got. Because otherwise, like you and I did it when I was first starting out, I was working late and I was doing many lessons. But now it's just that's my diary. You
Mm.
fit into my diary, I don't fit into your diary. And if it can't work, unfortunately, that's my business. That's what I have to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure others will come up with solutions and ways to manage it. But time management seems to be a theme here. So anyone watching and listening, perhaps look at your diary and how you're managing it, especially in the earlier days where
Yeah.
it's new and more draining.
But it's hard to do that.
It is. It is. But I think it was hard to begin with for me because I didn't want to let people down. And I think in my head, I was more worried about, like, if I let someone down, they then go and say to their friend, oh, I spoke to Sean Ellis, driving instructor in Hive. He said no. Oh, okay. Then all of a sudden it circles around like wildfire that Sean's not helping people. That's what I visioned in my head going on. But it's probably not actually the case. And if they are, tough. You've got to learn to say no.
Well, I can't believe that none of you is offering a 24/7 service.
Yeah.
You start off and we'll follow suit.
Okay.
I think
I
going
like
back to the diary, sorry.
Go for
I
it.
was saying, going back to like the diary management and things, there will come a time where you will sort of toughen up with it.
Yeah.
And you will learn to say no. And you'll learn to set out, say if they're in a certain area and there's some in a certain area on one day, you're only available in that area on that day.
Mm-hmm.
And just sort of work it like that.
I used to do lessons this is a prime example of how stupid I was, I suppose. I had some twins that I'd done I used to do lessons with them on a Saturday morning. They lived like a 40-minute drive away. And I used to do that every Saturday. And like it got to the point I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm going over there and I'm doing like an hour and a half lesson back to back. So getting like, I don't know, 110 quid or whatever at the time. But I was actually out for like 5 or 6 hours by the time I got over there, done the lessons, got delayed, got back. And it ruins the whole Saturday. That's something, and that was just someone that come to me from a recommendation. Oh, you've taught my cousin. And I'm like, you're 40 minutes away, but yeah, of course, why not? And now if I now when people phone me and they're like 15 minutes down the road, I'm just like, no, I'm really sorry. I don't cover that area. So all my learners now are within like 5 or 10 minutes of my house. So that's another way that I've managed to trim the diary down. But I also only offer 3 lesson slots a day now. My last lesson finishes at 3:30, and that's it. I might occasionally do like a 4 till 6 if someone wants, but I wouldn't take anyone on permanently on that time anymore. So, because 6 hours is still a lot when you're trying to help someone learn to drive.
It's draining. And that's, I think, comes back to what you were saying earlier, Penny. I'm going to bring you in a moment for you on this one. But what was it? Answering the phone, taking bookings. This is included in that. What we have to do as a driving instructor is look at that. It's in my first reply to a learner that wants lessons. Whereabouts are you? What days and times are you available?
Yeah.
Because they could be in Swindon, but if my lesson, I don't know, say I finish at 11:30 and my next one starts at 12 and they're opposite sides of town, it's not going to work because I need my break in between. So yeah, that's what is a driving instructor. I think these two are quite nicely linked now the way we're going. It's as if I knew what I was doing. It was all planned, guys. It was definitely planned. But these are things that need to be accounted for. And the sooner you start doing it, the easier the process is going to become for you. But before we head off on any other tangents, I'm going to bring Penny in with what are some of the challenges that you're currently facing?
All of the above.
Cool. Yep.
So yeah, I still have problems saying no. I still have people phoning me up from miles away. Can I give lessons? Well, I don't know if I can fit you in at the moment, but I do now have some trainee PDIs, fortunately, that can take some of the other members away from me. But I've still got my learners that I won't pass off. I will keep continuing until they eventually take a test. There's most of the learners I've got going to be good minimum of a year, probably 2 years before they're ready for their test. Got one that comes up in March. She started in 2018, so that's the sort of learners I get, basically because of my reputation of helping people, as Andy probably knows, that have diverse needs. But apart from that, fitting my learners in on, so manual lessons on a Saturday, auto lessons on a Sunday, work 5 days a week as a driving assessor, and then have my PDIs so evenings and fitted in occasionally in the weekends. So time management is all right for work. I've got them sussed, but I don't know about me. Don't seem to have any time for myself. So when I'm trying to do courses and things, it's really quite difficult to fit the time in for them. So I do need to reduce my hours. And it's just, what do I drop? Because I love doing everything. And it's that saying no. It's a vicious circle. So yeah, so one of my things for next year is sorting myself out, sorting out what I am going to do, how I'm going to do it, and how I'm also going to give myself time so I can do the things that I want to do. So yeah, I've faced absolutely the same issues, plus probably a little bit more in that time management scale. Saying no, fitting everything in. With regards to finding the right trainer, I think that's a problem that anybody has at any time. Even when I started, because I'm unlike everybody here, I'd done the old PST style. So that was different. But I think there was still the same issues back then with people with training. They're just, I think it's more in the forefront now because we've got social media and people speak out more on social media, so people know what's going on. So everything's more relevant nowadays. And I think because of that, it's going to help the industry. Not going to be easy. It's going to take its time. I think things are starting to change. Hopefully they will change if we keep plugging at it.
I hope so. That's one of my current challenges, is my next step. So talking about how do you find a good trainer, I'm going to approach it from the other angle. How do I position myself as that?
Snap.
It's what do we do? There's no recognized or official pathway for us to do that. We can build a reputation and we can capture people from there, but we're missing a large portion of potential inquiries because still people are told go audit, even the DVSA's website. Step 3, find your instructor trainer. So that's one of my challenges, is where do I go next? What do I do?
How do we
That's
stand out as trainers? Yeah.
Yeah, do we shout loud on Facebook? Do we just build a brand and go for it? Do we work with a more senior trainer within the industry that has train the trainer courses? Do we work under someone else's brands? Do we continue to push the DVSA? That's one of my challenges, well, one of a few, but when we're talking about as a driving instructor, that's something for me. But I'd also like to bring it back to in the car. And this is a challenge that I'm conscious of, and it was brought up earlier on in the session, is tailoring the lesson for the pupil. I'm, as Andy mentioned about himself, I'm quite a hands-on learner. Let me go and do it. Let me try. Let me make some mistakes. And then we can figure it out and I'm all right, I'm good to go. But that's not how all learners learn. And when we're introducing something new to people, it's not usually the best way. Just let them have a go. So something I struggle with is incorporating different ways. If I've got someone that wants to be talked through, either while they're doing it or before, or they want to see pictures, or they want me to deliver a demonstration drive, I have to really focus and be conscious of what I'm doing to get to that stage. Otherwise, I almost just end up on a little bit of autopilot, delivering lessons how I want to deliver them. So that is a challenge that I'm finding in the car that I have to be conscious of constantly. Otherwise, it's let's go give it a go, see how it goes, reflect, have another go. And that works for some, but not for all. So that's an in the car challenge of mine. So you've got two. Has anyone got anything to add on those points?
Well, I was going to say with the finding that learning style, we all have a favoured learning style, but that one favoured learning style might not be right for the thing they're trying to learn at that point. So it's trying various options. So if they know that they've got a favoured learning style, try that first. If that doesn't work, try something else. Don't stick at that one thing. Don't stick at, right, you like to experiment, you like to try things out, like let's do it, let's see what happens, and it doesn't work. Don't just try like, oh, let's try it again. But try something different. Don't stick to that one style because it might not always work. And it's just trial and error with everything, trial and error. Not just them trying it and getting it wrong, but you trial and error on how they're going to learn it. Is it going to be a demonstration? Is it going to be looking at the books? Is it going to be just trying it? Or whatever there is available on what you're learning or what they're learning, there's always a different option. And it might be going back to that first one after trying the others, that then they finally get it.
I think something you just said there, and I think a lot of instructors fail to use because they don't realise how powerful it is demonstration. I found it, I didn't do it when I first started because that pupil were paying me X amount of pounds per hour to be taught to drive. And I shouldn't really take them out of that seat because they're paying to be in that seat. But it's a tool we've got. But well,
but are they?
Yeah, they are.
They're paying to learn. They're not paying to be in that seat.
Yeah, but when I first came into this industry, I felt they had to be in that seat because that's what they're paying for.
Yeah.
And I won't get them out of it and say, let me demonstrate. But I do demonstrate now, and it's powerful because they can get to feel it. They can get to see it being done.
Yeah.
Because if you've exhausted every other way and it's not happening, but instructors are very, very reluctant to swap seats and give a demonstration.
I used to be. I used to never do.
I put my hand up to it.
Yeah,
I did.
It took me a long while. And I would deliberately try and exhaust all other avenues before getting into the driver's seat and saying, "Well, let me show you." And then when I realised how good that demonstration could be, I'll offer it quite early.
Yeah.
So if they've not got it on their first or their preferred way of learning, well, let me show you how it's done. Oh no, it's all right, I'll do it. No, honestly, give it a go. What can hurt? And usually, I suppose 80% of the time, it does help, and they finally understand it. Because that, I think it's the fear of them watching you, maybe to start with, the fear of you getting it wrong or doing something wrong. But that all comes into their learning. So sometimes it can help if you do something wrong, because then they understand that, oh, you're not infallible. You do get things wrong. It doesn't matter so much if I get it wrong because you got it wrong. So it can help.
Yeah, I find demonstration in manoeuvres is really good because they don't understand how to make it go slower than that. So I'll let them steer and I'll control pedals. So I'm in passenger side, obviously, they're in driver's seat. Get them to steer and just say, look around. And when you're controlling cars so slow and you say to them, how many times did you manage to look around then? Oh, I look around quite a few times. But they don't realise you can get the car to move so slow. So I find it very powerful on manoeuvres, doing demonstration. And you're not even swapping seats.
Yeah.
This is where I think part 2, driver skills, we spoke about it, so I won't do it too much to death in this episode, but it's so important. The amount of times I've commented on a post, just something as simple as, do I need to be able to do the push-pull control on the steering wheel? And everyone's like, no, doesn't matter anymore, doesn't matter. Whereas my opinion is, we need to be able to do it. As an instructor, we need to be able to do whatever steering method, all of them. You need to be able to do all of the maneuvers, either with push-pull or palming it, everything. We need that level of driving. Otherwise, how are we going to demonstrate? Because this is potentially something that we can talk about, is when we're demonstrating something, are we demonstrating it as a textbook or are we demonstrating in a way that's going to be useful for that learner? So when I see people, I no good at parallel parking, I can't do the 10 and 2 hand position and push pull. Well, go and practice. Go and practice until you can do it, because you've got a full license, you've got a car and you've got some roads. Just practice, because that's it. It's that demonstration, isn't it? If we can't demonstrate doing a maneuver while controlling the steering wheel properly, I'm going to use the word properly loosely, but using that 10 and 2 and push pull, if we can't demonstrate it, how are we going to help a learner? If we're like, I'm not going to show you the parallel park because I'm not that confident with it. Brilliant. Now, where do we go?
That's it, yeah. It's also, you might want to be demonstrating how they're doing it at the moment. So, right, you're doing it this way. How did that feel? What was it like being a passenger and feeling that in the car? It's not just about showing them how to do it correctly, it's showing them what they are actually doing. So we need to be able to drive to mimic other people, which is something that I don't think people tend to consider.
There was something that one of my learners was doing, and it was with the clutch and the gas when they were changing gears. And I couldn't figure it out. I was watching, I couldn't figure it out. And I was trying all the way home. What are they doing? Because it was jolting like a clunk every time they changed gear. And they was changing gear at the wrong point and dumping the clutch. And you could feel it clunk. But I couldn't see, it didn't look like they was doing anything wrong. There was just, it was only that student, and we thought there was something wrong with the car. And I'm like, no, it only does it with you. So I was experimenting with my car, trying to make my car do it. And once I got it figured, I was like, okay, this is now how we fix what's happening. So a hugely, in my opinion, overlooked skill is that driving ability. Forget trying to pass a part 2. You need to be able to switch on a part 2 standard, but also switch on for how your learners are doing it. And I love what you said there, Penny, is being able to demonstrate how they're doing something to then demonstrate what they should be doing and compare the difference.
Yeah.
So this question was, what are some of the challenges you're facing in your current situation, wherever you are? And we've covered that. I love it. Before we move on to the next question, which we'll maybe keep a little bit shorter, but we'll see how we get on. Is there any other points that people want to add to that one before we do move on?
Nope.
No, I don't think so.
I am going to take this silence as the opportunity to move on. And this question is open to as much interpretation as you want. Why are you doing what you're currently doing? So whatever stage you're at, why? And I'm going to run across my bottom row first, I think, this time. And then we'll come to the top two afterwards. So I'm going to start from left to right. We're going to go with Sean, who I thought was going to strip for us, but he's not. So we're all right. Why are you doing what you're currently doing?
In regards to driving instructing,
Yeah. So you're a PDI at the minute.
yeah.
Why?
Because I want to help people. I've driving on the lorries. I suppose you see some road users from a bit of a different angle, I guess. But you see some of the worst drivers in the road, and I was generally concerned about the quality of the road users for our future generation. And I was just thinking, I can help people learn to drive a lot better I feel like I can help people learn to drive a lot better than some of the current road users on the road. So that's why I'm doing what I do, or trying to do what I do.
Love that answer. I'm going to keep moving around and then we're going to discuss this for a little bit. But Gary, what about you?
Get with me.
Get with you. A little bit like seeing a lot of really, really poor drivers. What got me into the industry was I was helping my daughter to drive, and I thought I could be quite good or okay. I think I'm an okay driver. Want to get better. I want to get better at driving instructing. So, and the main motive was to be home more. But to be honest, I am home more, but I'm out the house a lot more as well. So, just trying to help people as best I can.
I like that. Throwing it to you, Jen.
So, when I first started in my careers, I qualified as a nurse, and on one of the placements there was a lot of dealings with road traffic accidents, and so road safety has been quite at the forefront of it. And then during COVID lockdown, I taught my brother when people were allowed to mingle again, just because he couldn't get a driving instructor for love nor money. And I absolutely loved it. I loved the challenge of it, and it kind of sort of said to me that actually I could incorporate what is important to me with what I'm really enjoying doing. And yeah, that's sort of where the idea came from.
So from more of that road safety and wanting to make sure that people are getting the best chance on the road.
Just because the standard of driving on the roads at the minute is not great. You see it daily. And I don't know whether that's just because I'm on the roads more or whether it's just because I'm looking out for it more, because I'm watching other people more. I don't know. It's just, I just want to, if I can send one person out there that's going to be safe, then I'll be happy.
That's it, isn't it? If we can stop that one person making a silly decision that then in turn keeps them alive and in one piece, job done.
Yeah.
I like it. So I'm going to bring in the next two now. Who should we start? We'll start with Penny. Then we'll come to Andy, because Andy likes just no comment and staying quiet anyway, don't you, mate? You don't like talking too much.
I was actually going to say go to Andy first.
Okay,
So I've got a
then
little bit
Penny's in
more.
charge.
Yeah.
I'm
Go on,
going to go
Andy.
to Andy, but you guys can interpret this however you want. So you can come at it from whatever stage of driving instructor or trainer or support or whatever you find yourselves. But why are you doing what you're currently doing, Andy?
Why I'm currently doing what I'm doing is I've spent many years driving lorries like Gary and Sean, and I was teaching in lorry and bus industry. And I come over to the car for two reasons. One, to be working nearer to home, and the other reason where I thought I could start with road safety at the very start of the driving career, rather than trimming the bush up after they come into lorry. I could start with seed.
Yeah.
Start it at the front end rather than getting it halfway through. So that's why I come into this industry. Why I do what I'm doing now is because my way into the industry was not good. Poor training and everything. So I currently support PDIs because I know what it's like to be high and dry and not get the correct training. And I believe what I'm doing is to help them, because, like they've already said, how do you know a good trainer? How do you know it's working? Because you're being sold this golden dream, which turns out to be a wet one. Because you don't know that training is right or wrong. One thing I do as well is I allow PDIs to come and sit in my car, and I know Gary and Jen can vouch for this. My door's open many, many times to PDIs. And we're never given that opportunity to see a live lesson take place. The amount of learning that can come from it just by them being sat in back of a car. And I think, to be honest with you, more ADIs should allow PDIs to come and sit in cars. Even PDIs, having other PDIs sitting. When you go to your training 2-to-1 with these big companies, stay in touch with each other, support each other, throw ideas around, because it's so isolated. Something that I do where I live now, I run a ADI, PDI social night to get people together, because it's such a lonely industry where like-minded people can meet and talk about what we like doing. Road safety, teaching people to drive, share ideas and experience, and bring them people together.
I like that.
I'm getting emotional.
Positive
I'm getting
stuff.
emotional.
I know.
The Oscar goes to Andy
he-
McMaster.
He's stopped talking. What's going on? Help!
He'll be going for Golden Globes next week.
But this was kind of why I wanted to pose it this way, because I had a feeling there'd be kind of slightly different themes, with obviously people at different stages. And we know that, Andy, I think we're going to have a catch up in the new year anyway, aren't we? Get you on the show and talk about what you're offering, what you're doing for people. But yeah, it's different ends of the spectrum, aren't we? We've got people that are just coming in that need that support, and we've got people that are just starting to offer that support and be that person that people need. So before I talk too much about this, Penny, your turn.
So I got into it was road safety. I do when my kids were little, my mum had thought about becoming a driving instructor. And I thought that's a good idea, but I wasn't in a position at that point to consider it. Then when my eldest started driving, 2 weeks after she passed her test, she had a collision, completely wrote her car off, nearly killing herself. So that was my point where I started more like considering that I can do a better job than that. I can make a difference in like a drop in the ocean. But I'd like to help. I'd like, when my other kids start driving, I want them to be better drivers. I don't want them to end up like in a severe collision. She was lucky, she did walk out of it, unlike her car. And she spun it across the road. Somehow she'd ripped all the front of the car off with this suspension, everything completely gone, wheel was on its side, and she'd spun it in front of the lorry. But fortunately, the lorry managed to stop and miss her. So she was very, very lucky. So that's why I decided to train as a driving instructor. Plus, I was a gymnastics coach at the time, so I had some sort of coaching training. Not that that helped me when I trained to be a driving instructor. But from there, I loved the job. I stayed in the job. I've done all my training, train the trainer, several of those courses, lots of different things. And without really looking into having like teaching people, 2 years ago, I had people starting to come to me and asking me if I would train them to drive, train them to be driving instructors. Where I am at on that side of things. So as well as sort of falling into that, I suppose, with people coming to me rather than advertising, that's what I'm going to do. It's what I'd wanted to do, but they come to me before I'd got my grade A. So I was sort of, I wouldn't push it until I've got my grade A. I still won't push it until I've got my grade A. But I've done drink driving rehabilitation courses, and then went into, as some of you know, being a driving assessor for people with medical conditions and disabilities. So I'm not only putting people on the road, I'm now also taking people off the road if they're driving or if their medical condition is such that they can no longer drive. How I got into that was I'd gone on a course about disabilities just so I could have a little bit more understanding about neurodiversity and teaching people with various ailments. And I met a guy called David Thorpe, who's no longer with us, sadly. And he kept saying to me, you've got to come and have a look at what we do. You've got to come and have a look at what we do. I think about 5 years later down the line, I eventually went and had a look, got offered the job there and then, and sort of fell into it. Now do that full time, Monday to Friday. So that takes up most of my time. It's a hard job. It's a very emotional job. Having to have that, I think I still need my learners for the lift that they give you by getting them on the road and seeing those light bulb moments throughout their journeys. Because if I was just doing the driving assessments, I don't think I would manage it without having that other job or without having my learners. I think I get just as much reward from my trainees though. Now I've started with them. Maybe even more so. I'll find out when I get them past part 3. But some of the light bulb moments that they have, like through doing their part 2 and even their part 1, is just as rewarding, if not more rewarding, than seeing the learners develop their skills. So it's not an easy job at any point, from the learners right the way through to being the assessor. It's a stressful job in many ways. It's also a fantastic job.
think that shows the amount of options that we've got as driving instructors. You know, the first question was, what is a driving instructor? And the CV that you've got, Penny, I think covers
A few of them.
all angles of what we can
Yeah,
do
I've done
as a
fleet as
driving
well.
instructor.
Yeah, so I've
There we
done some
go.
training for Ricardo as well. So yeah, so there's lots of different various positions you can hold as a driving instructor, other than teaching learners.
So I guess we can all agree from this episode that a driving instructor is not just someone that sits in the passenger seat giving directions at the end of the road, turn left, straight ahead at the roundabout. Go on, Andy.
It's not a passenger seat, it's an instructor seat.
There's a difference.
Apologies. I
I
take
think
it
the
all back.
passenger seat doesn't
Sorry.
have a brake or a clutch.
We just sat in the instructor seat, giving directions, hoping that they get us there alive, and then we teach them test routes and they pass. If anyone clips that, I'll be very disappointed.
See, that's one
So
thing as an
before-
instructor.
Go
That's
on.
one thing as an instructor. Be man enough or woman enough to admit when you're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know who that's aimed at, but we'll move
No,
on.
I'm
Anyway.
not aiming at anybody, but
Hey.
we don't admit when something's wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like when things go wrong, sorry, it's my fault. I should have given you that instruction earlier. Yeah, admit to it.
Oh
Yeah.
definitely, 100%. I'm always saying, "Oh, got that wrong."
Yeah,
I shouldn't have
Take the
asked
next
you
road
about
on the
your
left, and we'll
weekend.
go into the river.
The amount of times that I've started a conversation at the wrong time, though, and yeah, we've just got, okay, I'll be quiet, my mistake, or the learner makes a mistake on a roundabout, but we know it was because we was talking to them. We
Yeah,
can't blame them. We've got to go and run it back and make sure that it was our mistake and not theirs. Although they do need to be able to manage that themselves in the future, but that's why they're on lessons. You know, we can't just blame them if we've made a mistake. So yeah, being sat in the instructor seat and not the passenger seat is not just giving directions. Is that all right, Andy? Is that better? I'm going to clip the other bit out, so you're having a go at no one.
it'd be wrong of you to clip it. You should leave it in.
Oh, it's all being left in, apart from one bit that someone else said that might get me in trouble. The rest stays. But before we
Sorry about
finish
that.
for the evening, have we missed anything? Is there anything that anyone would like to add off the back of this session?
On camera or off camera?
Well, if it's something that needs to be off camera, wait till I hit pause.
I'm just trying to make conversation.
Well, I'm going to take the silence as everyone's happy, and I'm going to thank you all for coming on this Monday evening, 2 nights before Christmas. I know a lot of you have got other things coming up as well. So thank you very much for your time this evening. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you,
Merry
Josh.
Christmas.
Yeah,
and
Merry
get
Yeah, Merry
voted.
Christmas to everyone.
Christmas.
Hey, the voting, we'll cover that in another episode, Andy. So thank you very much to everyone who joined me this evening. And thank you to my sponsors, Knowledgeably Instructor Training. You can find all of their award-winning content at www.adikit.co.uk. Thank you.